What's up, everybody? Kyle Merlette here. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Hangout presented by MurphysMagic.com. I'm coming to you here from sunny Las Vegas, and I'm excited to hang out with the guy that's here tonight. He's we've become really good friends over the last year or so, and he's insanely creative magician and also super funny. You might be familiar with his effects like Burn Notice or Senses. Plus, there's actually a couple of things that are coming out through Murphy's Magic, which we might be able to talk about just a little bit coming up. So, with that being said, it's Chris Wiehl. Chris, say hello to everybody. There he is. You just
Hey everyone.
There you go.
How you guys doing? I don't know. Is it a bad idea if I opened up like the YouTube also so I can read questions or no? I don't know.
Well, it might, because it's gonna play back. So I'll ask the questions, Chris.
All right, not a big deal.
Don't worry.
We'll see if anyone shows up first off, and then we'll go from there.
Someone ask about your love for kittens. I will make sure to get asked.
Love for kittens. Yeah, I have some people I've been sending cat facts to, like like via text. So just people who people in like kind of annoy you or like are asking for it. So I'll be like, oh well, you're getting cat facts. So
well, thanks for
ask me anything about cat. No, but all right.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked everybody the very first hangout, and that is just in case anybody's watching who may not be familiar with your work or who you are. Give us a rundown, like a little bio, like who you are, where you're from, boxers briefs, and how, what magic you do and stuff like that.
Okay. So for everyone who doesn't know me or kind of doesn't really know me, my name's Christopher Wiehl. I'm 24 and I'm in New York, not the city, but I'm upstate, so I'm kind of in the country. But I've been doing magic for about 7 years now. Like for seriously like practicing, though I've always been interested in magic ever since my grandma kind of got me introduced. Back when I was like 4 or 3, she went to a trip to New Orleans, went to a magic store, picked up some magic tricks, and to kind of show to the grandkids like a good grandma should. So she did that, and I kind of got hooked. And from there, I was always interested in magic. I might have not pursued it as much as I could have, but I was always interested. And when I was around 3rd grade, we had a talent show in our school, and my sister and I did like a stage show, a stage magic show. So we had we did like a couple of cool things. Like my dad tried to teach me some coin magic stuff, but he doesn't know how to do coin magic. So we were doing because he was trying to explain doing that kind of like a retention. But I don't remember how it was like. This was his. It was like you take the coin, you show it, and you grab it, and you clench this fist kind of and drop it, and then point, because pointing is the way to do it. So if you guys ever need misdirection or you're doing coin magic, just point to the other hand, and they'll never think it's in this hand. But anyway, so we did that. That was the opener. So nothing too crazy. But then we did some other things, like we had a head twister illusion, the one where you put your head and twist it, that fun one. The kind of like the box with a mirror in the angle, so you can put stuff in, pull stuff out, and show it's an empty box, and then pull out we pulled out candy at the end, so that was a good closer. But so it was a pretty
big love candy.
Yeah, kids. I was kind of I don't know. I'm surprised I wasn't mad I wasn't getting candy, but I guess I was up there doing the show, so I didn't care, right? But it was pretty tight for being a third grade magic show. But we ended up doing that show about 2 or 3 more times in the area for libraries and stuff for summer programs. So that was kind of neat. So that was my first official show, and so that kind of just built on that, and then I didn't really start doing magic until I was in senior year of high school, when I had a friend, Justin. His name was Justin, and he came up to me. He's like, "Want to see a magic trick?" I'm like, "I love magic, sure." So he does. I'm like, whatever.
Golly,
oh boy, it's gonna be great. So I didn't know what to expect, because I've known this kid, and he's never showed me a magic trick out of the whole 2 years I knew him.
Didn't know it.
Nah, he didn't. Pretty sure didn't. So he just showed me like some real basic like card stuff. Like he did like ambitious card and he did like a simple triumph thing, and I was like blown away. I was like, gotta teach me. He's like, no. So I beat him up after school, and then so no, but he agreed to teach me. Actually, I was just like, can you teach me? He's like, sure. I was like, oh, that was kind of. I was looking for more of put up more of a fight for that, but he was real willing to teach me. So he gave me like my first deck of Black Tigers and a DVD, and
So cool.
right. He's like, here, these are like good cards. I was like, ooh, they're cool. I've never seen cards like this. Like I didn't even know. I was just like, oh, these are cool. Okay, let's mess them up. And then he's like, but buy like a cheap deck of cards so you can actually ruin those instead of these ones. I'm like, okay, whatever. So he kind of got me started, hooked me up with some of the sites at the time, which were, I think, like Theory 11 wasn't out. I don't even know. It was like probably Penguin or something, and YouTube. So he kind of got me hooked up with that, and kind of just told me where to find stuff. And from then, I just kept building on, and just picking up new stuff, and got into card magic first, since that's what he showed me, and I kind of stuck with card magic. I still can't do any card magic, but I enjoy it. So,
You just have that Black Tiger deck.
I do have Black Tiger deck, the Black Tiger, and I actually picked up I don't even know how I got a mini deck of Black Tigers, but I have a mini deck too. So those come in handy all the time, I'll tell you. Like I can't tell you a gig I don't have my mini deck of Black Tigers at. So.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. This is now people know everything about you.
That's pretty much it.
And you just got engaged recently, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's about 6 years after I started learning magic, I got engaged.
It took you that long to get a girl.
The sad part is I've been doing magic for less time than I've been dating Sarah. So she's been with me for the whole time. So she's kind of she's done with magic, I think.
Enough.
I'll be like, I got this awesome new thing I want to show you. She's like, I'm watching Grays. Can you? I'm like, whatever. But she's really good with it though. She's a trooper.
My fiance, she loves magic, but she only loves good magic. So her magic like radar has gotten really good. Like she will freak out over amazing magic, but the moment she hears Linking Rings coming, she's like out. She's like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Linking Rings can be cool. They can if they're done well, but
out right now. Just
it's like
I'm gonna stop talking right now.
My favorite is when they're like this. They go slow, and then they're like, yeah, it's like, oh, come on. No, it's funny because I'll show Sarah something, and she'll be like, oh, great. I'm like, was that good? She's like, yeah, it was good. I'm like, would you like? It's hard for her to think because she's like, well, I expect you to be good. I'm just like, so you can't rate like, do you think that's good or not? She's like, well, I expect you to like be awesome at it. I'm like, well,
is she like super disappointed in you when you're bad?
Yeah, she'll like. I was working on a thing, and she's like, yeah, I saw that, and that kind of was dumb. I was like,
I'm disappointed in you.
All right,
Christopher.
Yeah, she's. Yeah. No, so she's seen all of my stuff. Unfortunately, I had her fooled for the longest time with metal bending though. I used to do a lot of like the forks and stuff, and I had her for a long time.
And then she just got pissed off that you kept bending the house over.
I actually bought my own just to bend, but no, she'd get annoyed because we go out to restaurants, and the first thing I would do is like I would check the metal. I'd be like, I could do this, and then I might, then if I bent it, she'd be like, come on, you can't do that. I'm like, oh.
They're never gonna know. Like they never.
Nah.
I've done more damage in a restaurant because of magic than people can even imagine.
I know. How much money they lose on lemons, right?
Sugar packets, salt
sugar packets. Man, like, no, because I used to do that in college. Because when I was in the University of Buffalo I was doing magic there, and I was kind of in. was doing magic for like a year or two, like freshman year, because they started in senior year. So I was still like super hot with like, you know, just all the time, like every second, practicing like and metal bending practicing too, because that's when I was got into metal bending. So the forks in the dining hall were like perfect, you know, like real cheapy, you know, crappy forks that. So they'd always be, oh, do that trick, and so I'd like end up doing the twist in it, and so we'd throw it back in the, you know, in the dirty dishes, and we come back, and by the end of the year, it was like 1 in every 4 were twisted. So
the whole school was mad at you.
I know that. What? It's like, oh yeah, it's better for like, you know, like eating spaghetti or whatever, you know, whatever you need to twist. I don't know. But no, so that was that. There was also one other magician living in my dorm who would do like, the only thing I ever saw him do was like the sugar packet in the hand thing, you know. And I'm the one like wrecking like sugar packets. Not sugar packets, wrecking like forks and stuff.
You were better than him, is what you're saying.
I can do that.
That actually wasn't terrible. You did flash a little bit.
Whatever.
I was doing this. I'll show. Let's have a magic off right now. Just coming here. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
It's gimmickless too, which I don't get. Like, I don't know how that.
There's actually no gimmick.
No gimmicks. Real magic.
I'm basically a wizard. So, we had a question and a comment from Kevin. He says, do you perform more general magic rather than just card magic, or do you do general magic? Because one of your latest releases, Senses, is not a card trick. It's actually a really great trick, and if you haven't looked at it, you should go check it out. And I am plugging it because it's actually really good, and I actually do it myself. And you should go look at it. But that's not a card trick. You can use cards with it, but it's not. So do you create magic that is card tricks and none, or do you?
Yeah, but it seems like everything I release seems to be like more non-card related. Like with the first, and All Be Consumed was a coin and bottle. The second one,
difficult coin and bottle.
Yeah.
It was great. But I could never get it. I could never.
Yeah. It was tough. You know, I don't know. I think it was easier for me, like, because I can hit it more, like, more than, I hit it pretty much every time, but, like, I think that's because I had to, like, learn, like, all the problems and how not to do it. So, no, it is a tough coin and bottle, but that wasn't card magic. Burn Notice is kind of card, it can be card-based, you know, if you're doing, like, card revelation, but that's not really card magic in a sense either, neither Senses. But I do create a lot of card stuff, and a lot of the card stuff I use, I don't know, like, because I love making gimmicks, because I love doing the card sleights, and I do all the card sleights, and when I perform, I'll perform more like gimmickless magic. You know, I usually carry like, I don't want to say 1 to 2 gimmicks, because you know, if I have like a special Sharpie thing or something, it's not really a gimmick, you know. If I carry around a shell, you know, but you know, I'll carry around a couple like gimmick things, maybe like an invisible deck, you know, if I'm doing that, or I'll have some gimmicks right in the deck. But I do like creating a lot of card magic. I just haven't had any of that out yet, and a lot of the card stuff I do is like a lot of ungimmick stuff.
Well, one of your next things coming out, I don't know. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about Arthur?
I guess, like, I don't know who's in the chat. I was kind of showing it to a couple of people, but, like at Magi Fest.
No, the next thing, one of the next things you have coming out with Murphy's.
Yeah, the Arthur project there. That's a card thing. So
but it's a different card effect. Like, it's not like average.
No, it's not. It's not your pick a card, lose a card, find a card, or reveal a card. It's definitely. I'm definitely really excited about it because I came up with the idea like junior, sophomore year of college. So that was like 4 years ago. I came up with the original idea, and it was ridiculous. And I talk a bit about it on the DVD, how ridiculous like the original idea was, and just kind of we talk about the process of kind of streamlining ideas and how to like. How it came to be, but it's been kind of something I've been really working hard on for the last four 4 to 5 years, depending.
And what's the basic effect?
The basic effect, it is. It's hard to describe. It's kind of I'll tell you the original like inspiration was like the Omni deck. That was one of the original inspirations of the Omni deck, and then I know. Yeah, and then Paul. I think
completely different. I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, that was the original inspiration. I think Paul Harris also has something similar. To it. I really that was the original inspiration though, was a frozen, because I was making Omni decks because I'm in college. I don't have money to spend on like anything, so I didn't buy a lot of Magic. I had a friend who had an Omni deck, and so I'm like, I want an Omni deck, but I don't want to buy one, so I just made one out of solid, like out of cards, right? So I just had everything was all solid and put together and everything. So it was like my cheap version. It didn't get the response that others did, so I kind of worked out the idea for Arthur based on that. So, because like, so that was the original trick idea. So that's kind of the closest thing is too, but it's like that meets Sword in the Stone, which is
it's pretty sweet. I'm excited for everybody to see it.
Yeah. Me too. I don't know how much we could talk about it though. Like it's close.
Well, let's move on. So, one question that I like asking is because especially because you're a creative guy, is what's your creative process? Meaning, like, you know, do you normally have an idea first and then method and then idea, or do you just kind of just go at it? Or
it's you know, it's a lot of different things, and I don't know if it's the same with everyone, but for me, it's kind of, I kind of just let it kind of just, most of the time it kind of just comes to you, and you're like, because a lot of my Magic that I'm working on or that I've come up with is kind of, it's based off of other things that I know or situations that I'm in. You know, like if I'm walking through the store, like I was walking through Price Chopper, and I was looking, like getting vegetables and stuff, and they have the twist ties. So I'm like, oh, I'll just grab like all these twist ties, you know, so no one else can have them. But you know, so I'll be like, oh, well, that's cool. Let's see what I can do. This is a cool object that everyone knows, you know, and they're cheap, and I can get them. So what can I do with it? So a lot of the time it's kind of based off a situation. But what it's ultimately based off of, and I talk about this a lot when I talk about creativity, or if someone asks me, it's all about knowledge. Knowledge is power. Thinking outside the box, right? Because everyone's like, oh, you got to think outside the box, but a lot of people don't know how to get outside the box. And if you think of a box as an actual box, and I use this all the time, like it's an actual box, so like a big 16 by 16 by 16, 16 cube box, like pretty foot tall or something, like really hard to jump out. I don't know if I can jump and grab 16 feet, but it's like that's what kind of the box you're in, and there's nothing in there, and you have to get out to think outside the box. So the best way to get out of that box, like there's people who are natural jumpers who can jump 16 feet and get out. Some guys who just get creative ideas all the time. And then there's other people who really need to build their way out of that box, and what you build up with is knowledge from books, Magic DVDs, books, even just watching performances, watching videos, all that cool stuff. So it's kind of like, it's really hard to like give like a metaphor, but let's pretend you're in this big old box, and all you have is like a magazine of different books, and every time you can order a book, it like gets dropped into the box or something. So you have to build like a little staircase out, and the more you can fill out up the box, the easier it is to get out of the box. So that's kind of like the metaphor of knowledge is power. But I strongly believe that is a huge part of creating. And if anyone wants to create, it really helps to know what is out there, what has been done, what is, what's already there. Because I have a lot of magicians will come up and show me a video and be like, oh, is this cool? And, it might be cool, but it's already been done before. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. And I'll tell them, where it was from, and it's a good thing that they're coming up with stuff that these great magicians have come up with, years ago. So, they're on the right path. But what they need to do is just keep building on what they know, so they can know what's been done, different ways to do different things. Like all my stuff it's all based almost everything I create is based off of something else in one way or another, and you just build on different methods. So creative process, it's just as much knowledge as I can get, and it makes it easier just to kind of think of new ideas, think of ways to solve problems that I might run into. And I wrote on the cafe about that actually.
Oh yeah,
quite a bit. So if you guys need some notes like to look over, since I kind of just talk fast and a lot, I think I wrote it down in semi-coherently there also. But I also wrote a couple other creative process information. Like a lot of the stuff I do is I get ideas and inspiration, help from friends, and I know there's a lot of collaboration between me and another guy. If I have a problem or if I have an idea, I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? And they'll be like, oh, that looks like something this guy did, or oh, that'd be cool if you did this to it. So it's always nice to have someone else. Two brains or two heads are better than one type of thing.
Sure.
So there's a lot of good ways for people to increase their creative process, their creativity, and.
So what is the process for you? Like, do you normally try to have method and then a trick?
I try to, it really depends. Usually it'll be a trick. Like I'll think of an idea for a trick and be like, how can I do that? And then I'll have to work up to a method. So I guess to answer that very easy question, after a lot of talking, yeah, I guess it would be it's usually the idea first, then the method. And I find that's easier too. Because sometimes if you have a method and you try to apply it to other things, it gets a little tough for you to expand on the idea since you already have it kind of cemented into one idea already.
Yeah, I find so when I first was starting to create magic when I was a teenager, when I was young, like probably 15 or so, I would hang out with these super creative magicians, and I'd be like, I want to have this item levitate and spin and then catch on fire. And they were like, great. And then they would be done. And then I'd be like, but wait, how do I do that? And I'm like, I don't know. That's something I got to figure out. So I would get really discouraged because I would have all these, at the time I thought were amazing ideas. And then, all of a sudden I'd be like, okay, I want to make a tiger appear. How do I do that? Well, crap, I don't have any ideas how to make that tiger appear. It must not be a good trick. Let's and I would throw all these ideas away, and I would never do them, and I would never go back to them. And then when I realized, later on, if I have I'll go through my notebooks, because that's a big, if you create magic, you should have notebooks. I have probably 100 of these moleskin notebooks around my house with and half of them are bizarre, insane, and almost slightly impossible ideas. But eventually, I'll have a method to do every single one of these, and therefore, it's never get discouraged about your ideas, because you never know if you have a method or not. Or you might be able to, go see a friend and be like, look, I have, just reading an idea. I might have an idea in here to do something, and I'll have to go to Chris Wiehl and be like, hey, here's this crazy idea. Any thoughts on that? And then we might be able to work together. But the thing when I was a kid was just getting discouraged because I didn't have methods for my ideas.
And now you probably can figure out methods for most of them too.
Most of them now I can, but not. I still not all the way.
You still don't know how to make a tiger appear, so. Might as well quit.
I'm gonna give
no, but yeah, I write down all my ideas. I have a bunch of those. I have different shaped ones, but those notebooks. I've been doing a lot. I just will punch in on my phone, and I got this BlackBerry here.
What's a BlackBerry?
Yeah, for all you guys who don't know, BlackBerry is a fruit.
It's not a phone, right? It's like a thing.
That's an artifact now, I guess. But I just type all my ideas on, and it's funny because I'll go back through some of these older ideas, and I'll be like, oh man, that just got put out 2 months ago, or oh man, now, or I'll know resources now, be like, oh, so and so did this 50 years ago. But at least you're on a track. At least that you are coming up with good ideas, especially if they've already been put out. They've got to be decent.
Sure.
To a point. Yeah, write everything down is awesome. Like I upgraded to a tablet so I can write down stuff now
Oh, you just
and film stuff now so I
uh,
can keep my ideas.
I will tell you, it's crazy. This sounds egotistical, and I don't mean it in any fashion like that, but like, it's crazy how fast for me at least, if I don't write an idea down, I will have a new idea in my head 2 minutes
Hmm.
later, and I will totally forget and then like maybe 5 years later, I'll be like, hey, I had this idea a long time ago. Why didn't I do that? But like, it's seriously like I have so much on my mind and so many ideas going through it that I am super duper forgetful, and I will forget instantly
Hmm.
a trick. So I have to write it down. Like when I'm like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll get an idea, and I'm like, I'll remember that, and then nope. Like I always,
Yeah.
I have notebooks. I have notebooks probably in every room of this house. I even have one in the bathroom with like a pen and a notebook, because you never know
Where's
when
some?
inspiration is going to strike.
You never know, especially after Chipotle.
Especially
But
after.
especially. No, yeah, writing down is I do a lot of some of the ideas I'll also film. Because sometimes I get stuck in an idea and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and work on it, and I'll kind of work on it, and I'll make something up like real quick, like with this corner thing I was showing you earlier. That was something I was like, oh, that'd be cool to do. So I'd sit down and be like, oh, let's make the corner thing, and then that was just
Well,
I'd film
I've
it,
said this time and time again before on the Hangout, and I'll say it again. But like a lot of times, the way I create magic is I will think of something in the morning, build it that afternoon, and put it in my show that night. You
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
So basically, what you were saying, like I'll throw something together with duct tape just enough to get me through my show that night, and then
Yeah.
if it works, and then I'll make a better version of it. But
Yeah. No, I love prototyping things. Like sometimes it's just funny. Like I was playing around with I showed you that torn card thing, right? The torn like the where you have the torn pieces and
oh
toss it
yeah,
up
it's
in
one
it.
of my most favorite things you've created.
Yeah, and and like that thing is like it's so funny just to like they'll be like, oh, how'd you do that? I'd be like, look at this, look at
Look at
this.
this gimmick that took me 12 hours to make.
I know it's like how stupid am I? Just I did this. But no, like I love doing that. Like just coming up with like these crazy like and even at the beginning point, sometimes just so impractical, but it just looks so cool.
Right.
And that's it's just refinement though. But nah, a lot of fun things like that
So
though.
what is like your? I mean, this is probably going to be a hard question to answer because it always is. What's your
Mhm.
like favorite thing that you've ever created?
Oh, favorite thing I've ever created. Um, I have that fun thing with the Blue Crown. I have a thing with Blue Crown that I've been working on for a while. That thing's pretty fun. I like it just because it's one of those like those toys you get and you're like, oh, this is cool. I like this is so neat. It's kind of like that. And then the torn card thing and Arthur deck. Like those are like those are probably my favorite things I've created just because like I guess fun wise those are my favorite things.
Yeah, I,
You know what I mean?
man, it would be so hard to. I don't even know how to answer. One of my latest things that I've created in the last 2 years or last year and a half is something that I have eventually coming out. It's not. It's kind of not the most important project in my life right now, but like eventually I'll put it out because I'm super proud of it, and it's something that I worked on with my friend Nick DeFott, because it was one of those things where like I was working on every single method possible to make it happen, and then this is why I think it's super good to have creative friends in your life and creative people that you can jam with, because I was working on it and working on it and working on it, and then I was getting so mad because it was like this should not be this difficult. And then I showed it to Nick, and he's like, well, "Why don't you just do that?" And I'm like, "Ah, you bastard! Like I could have thought of this on my own." And the problem is I have another trick that utilizes the exact same method that ended up being the method for this. There's no reason why I should not have thought of that other method, but it's sometimes that we get so caught up in ourselves in this trick that we don't step back and see the picture. So
and it's tough because I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's actually they've done studies on this type of thing where they'll tell someone, I want you to create, like what they did was like, I want you to create a water bottle, but we don't want it to have like this certain kind of mouthpiece, and we don't want it to have this. And they'd show them an example of what not to make. And when they told them, like when they started making them, all they would make are like similar looking things, like even with the parts that weren't supposed to be there. I'm currently working on a project like that where it was one idea, and then it kind of changed into something even more difficult, but a better idea. But now I'm still stuck in the same mindset that the original idea was on, and I'm like, I know this could be different, and I know it could work in a different way, but I just can't get my head to work. So like I'm in that same that's what I'm doing right now, and it's just it's frustrating, but you know, at the same time, once you hit it, it's fun, you know.
Yeah, I have this effect with a tea bag, like tea, and it's one of the best things that I've ever worked on, and Nick has collaborated with me. It's super good, and hopefully one day I'll release it. But it's,
now, is that the thing that I saw?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's great.
Just because cool. The reason I love it is it's just so instant. It just happens without, and it's clean, and it's just, and it's nice because you can do it in a coffee shop, or you can do it on a stage show.
It would be great for a show, like if you had like a little set, like
that's how I do it.
Around that. That'd be, you know.
So, but I've done it in my stage show, but I've also done it literally at a Starbucks.
Yeah.
So it's convenient. But yeah, man. So that's cool. One question that we also get a lot is what do you prefer? Do you prefer like books or DVDs, or what do you prefer?
I really like watching like videos. I'm kind of a mirror learner in the sense that I learn better from watching other people. I'm getting into books over the last like 2 or 3 years. I'm getting more into books just because I can understand a lot of the terminology, understand a lot of the a lot of the previous slights that they're talking about. You know, they'll be like, and perform a pass, and then this and that. I'm like, you know, before a couple of years ago, I might be like, what the heck is that move? You know, what kind of pass? How do you do that kind of pass? You know, and so now that I kind of understand it more, it's less cryptic. Some of these you know, a little more difficult books, but I really do like watching videos, especially when like they're teaching like certain techniques that are a little more difficult to write down. And unless the person who writes the book is really, really good writer, you know, it's hard for me to get into it. But I do like the visual, you know, aspect of videos, and some of the entertainment value is really good too. But you know, that's kind of the best way I like to learn is either through video or just through meeting other people and learning with them. So,
what the one question that we had on the chat, and it's funny because he is it Ken? Ken. He comes and hangs out with us quite a bit, and his question that he asks all the time: do you have a favorite trick or a type of trick that you use to promote yourself? So therefore, meaning like, you know, like do you have a trick with like business cards or like how do you things like that?
Geesh, with business cards, like a way to promote myself, business cards. I'm trying to remember the name of the magician. He has a nice one way I was doing it for a while was I had my business card on the playing cards, like on the back of the playing cards, and it was a signed card to pocket revealing thing. So it'd be like, I'm going to show you my last trick, right? And I'll be like, so I'll be in the middle of the trick, and it kind of uses like this. It's like you do this move, and then you like palm the card out or whatever, and so I take the card out and be like, and before the trick ends, I'm going to give you like my card or whatever, just so, because when you're going to want to book me again or whatever. So they put that in their pocket. And then I'll make I'll have the card like here, and I'll be like this, I'll be like, boom. I'll be like, look, and it jumps to your pocket, and then in their pocket is my business card, and on the back of the business card is the sign card. So that was a fun way to do that. I also had another thing that was based after it was based after it was an out to lunch trick, using business cards because that's super typical, right? Doing out to lunch with your business cards, but it was involving flash. It had flash paper, and it was a nice little story, talking about. It was kind of cheesier. I was doing a lot of cheesy kind of scripting,
More than you
but
do.
more than I do. Probably a little more than I try to cut out. It's funny. I kind of cut out a lot of my scripting and my patter on certain tricks just because they would get too long. Because I try to get into it too much, but try to get a little too dramatic.
Cut the cheese, bro.
What?
You gotta cut the cheese.
Yeah, right.
Cut the cheese.
So this one had to do with like wishes on stars and stuff, and so it started with them signing the business card, and you take it out, and you talk about how the magic I do isn't like real magic, like wish upon a star magic, but if we could, it was good. So
we could make it happen.
We make it, and so I would have like a piece. I would have the card on the table. I'd light up flash paper and throw it, and they hit the card. And when you turn the card over, where above their name it's like all these dots, and it's like all the stars, right? And then it's on like the friction pen thing afterwards, and I do a card reveal, and I do the same exact thing, but since the card was turned over, I'd throw the flash paper at it, and then the card would reveal, like in the stars. It was cheesy pattern, but it was a sweet trick, and it was a nice way to kind of just like do a whole 2-phase routine with business cards too.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds magical.
It's like amazing.
But no, I used to play a lot with the whole wish upon a star idea and like the Pinocchio thing, because they both tie together so well because of the Pinocchio story and the Pinocchio lying story, or like the pure of heart. Like I had a weird trick, and I did this as a joke too, but it was kind of like you give them a dollar bill and you have them like blow on the dollar bill, and you'd say this trick will work if you're pure of heart, right? And then like at the end the bill's like all messed up or something. I usually do like a braided bill, or it'd be in the shape of an inappropriate object or whatever.
Nothing like class.
Oh yeah, wicked class. And I would do this for like
4-year-olds.
College kids. Well, I was doing a lot of college magic, so we do all that stuff for fun.
Sure.
But so I used to do a lot of that scripting, but that's how I usually hand out my business cards. Nowadays, business cards, I kind of just hand them out. Like I kind of lost my touch on that, but I was doing a cool thing with some QR code things until I found out how uncool QR codes are. Apparently,
they're so uncool, and I would thought they were going to catch on super fast, but they did not.
They didn't, but it was cool. It had like a whole thing. It was like QR code on one side, and the back was just my whole business card. It was like a really cool little fun trick. But then the QR code thing fell out so quick. I was like glad I didn't like get a whole bunch of these printed out. I would have felt like a fool.
Like a fool.
But
how's this look? I just created this. I was just like rubber cementing and stuff. We're talking. Not that I wasn't listening, but so a playing card, and then you. Shut up! I just came up with this.
No, it's great. It's so far.
And then you go here, and it's back on.
Yeah, that's cool. Not bad.
I don't need your pity, Chris. I know.
Well, a little pity goes a long way sometimes.
Well, what do you got? What do you show us?
What do I got? Hold on a second here. What do I got? Let me see.
He's like scrambling and sewing in elastic thread. And like,
shut up, fool. So I have a card, right? And I'll just rip off the corner and then toss it back.
Same trick.
What?
It's the exact same trick, Ollie.
No, it's not. It's a corner, and
Your method is better than mine, but I didn't. I just had cards and rubber cement. Anywho, so one of my favorite questions to ask, and I know of all people, you must have one of these stories. What is the craziest thing that's happened to you when performing? Like a horror story, like things have gone horribly wrong.
Um, huh. Probably the best one, and for the fact that it was filmed and it's on film.
Do I see this?
Huh?
Can I see it?
Yeah, I'll shoot it over to you in a second. I don't want to go find it, but it's super. It was during. You might have seen it. It was during the filming. We were filming and All Be Consumed. And this was my first, my first magic project. I'm out there. I'm with Hankins was there, and like I was working with those guys, and we're sitting there, and I'm doing this trick, and this is the first time that I'm filming this. Okay, so we go out there, we go into like the bar where we're filming the street performances or whatever, and they're like, oh, show this trick to these people. So there's like these two like super drunk girls, like pretty ratchet, and they, one had like red teeth or something, like it was weird. Wicked drunk, wicked, oh, gross. Anyway, so I'm like, yeah, I'll do tricks for them, whatever, if they give a good reaction. So I do the coin and bottle, right, and I put the pen in the bottle, and they're like, oh, that's great, and the girl kind of pulls me aside, and like she starts whispering in my ear about, oh, that was great, and she starts going down like my shirt, like not down my shirt, down the front of my shirt, and starts like groping me like mad, and I'm like, whoa, right? Like,
and the shot, man, you're like, this is hilarious.
No, well, Mandy was like, what happened? What was that? And I was like, what?
Like, this happens to me all the time.
How do you think this trick's supposed to end? But no, that was the first time we filmed it, and that got caught on film. And that was just, I was just not expecting that. Like, I was just like, whoa, you like that? So, but you can check it out. It's actually on YouTube. It's if you search up, I think it's Magician Gets Molested.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. Magician Gets Molested.
Sure,
and we can all watch that
together.
So we have YouTube.
As a group. Any other stories? Anything crazy happened? What about in college? Like that's gotta be like cray, right?
College was crazy, but I never had a problem with college kids. My friend did once. He was doing sponge balls, and they were loving it. These girls, they thought it was like the craziest thing. So he does like his routine, and it's like whatever. And then at the end they're like, "Oh, you gotta do that again." He's like, "No, I'll do something else like awesome." "No, we want to see that." No, and they like freaked out, right? And we're at like some frat party, and these girls are like, "It's fun. This asshole won't do this trick," like going crazy. And we're like, "All right, we're leaving." So we leave, and like a week later or 2 weeks later, we're like in the college dorm. Kind of, they had like a dorm with all the restaurant, like food things for like when the kids come home, like at 2 in the morning, right? So we're doing magic there, and this group of people walk by, and those 2 girls are there. It's like, that's a kid who won't do magic tricks. That's a kid who won't do the sponge ball trick. I was like, are you kidding me? It's like they're like crows. Like they remember, like they hold grudges like forever.
But yeah, all tricks, they were obsessed with sponge balls.
Seriously, and like people are like SpongeBob. It's like they loved it. So that wasn't my crazy story, but I just couldn't believe that. Like, I'm like, well, I better go buy some sponge balls now, right? I don't think I had sponge balls at that point either. So let's see. College kids are fun though. I've had I was doing magic. Because we do magic all the time, like frat parties, we get in for free. Like they'd be like, "Oh, it's $5 to get in." I'd be like, "All right, I got my 5 friends here or whatever." Because it would be like me, another magician kid, 2 friends, and then we'd have a camera guy. Because we would actually go out and film. Like it was so awesome. So we go and be like, "Yeah, I'll pay." So I take out I do the extreme burn, right? $5, right? It's like, no, 5 for everyone. I'm like, okay, and I'll change it. And the guys are like. The frat guy's like, whoa, you're doing magic? I'll be like, yeah, man. It's like, dude, go in. If you're doing magic, go in there, do some magic. And, like, he's like, beer's in the basement. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm like, can we just get footage here? But no, those are good times, though, because kids, they're up for anything. They'll sit and watch you do magic for 2 hours.
They just spent 14 hours of their day studying.
Or, even... at least 5 hours drinking, and they just would stay there and watch you. And I've had kids come up to me like days, months, weeks after, like just like, oh, do a trick. And I was like in the basement, and these like these like they're like I think they were football players came down, right? And this was just, you know, and it was super David Blaine like. He's like, show us a trick. So all I did was this. All I did was this. I was like, had him pick a card, and I probably just put it in like really badly. I'm just like, not on the top, right? They're like, no. And then I turn it over, and they're like, on the top. And I showed it was on the top, and they like, it was in the laundry room. They dropped their laundry and they ran, right? It was like super, super reaction, like, you know, like the David Blaine special where he changed the dollar bill and the kids ran away. It was like that. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, it was a card trick. You know,
a good one.
It wasn't even a good card trick. But no, like college kids are great for performing too. Kids are hard too. You do kid shows ever or not really?
I did when I first started. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not my bag anymore. But
I've been doing a lot more since I started. Like, I've been doing my master's program with school psychology, so I'm like always in schools. So like the staff will always find out I do magic, and so they'll be like, "Oh, would you like to do? You know, we're doing this carnival." I'll be like, "Okay, we'll do carnival." So I do magic, and those kids can be brutal.
No, it's because kids don't know how to not. They know the only thing they know how to do is be honest. So they will be brutally honest with you.
There's parts to that. The younger kids, yeah, they'll be honest. Like if they're like, you got 2 balls in your pocket there, you know, sponge balls in your pocket, okay? Like you got 2 sponge balls, and like, oh yeah, I got 2, and then you know, you do one with 3, and so if they suspect something, they'll call you out, and a lot of times they're right. But there's also like a grade where it's like 5th, 6th grade when they're starting to like become socially aware of like, you know, who's cool and who's not. And then like I was doing the show, and the kid was like, I was doing this great magic, you know, and the kid was like, one kid was like, this is boring, you know, like looking around with his friends and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, boring. I was like, I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, like, this is great. Well, maybe it was boring. Who the hell am I know? But, you know, but they get brutal sometimes. They're fun, you know, and they definitely, you know, I see the same kids in the hallway who are like, this is boring, and they're like, oh, it's the magic guy, yeah, you know, like, and they always want to see tricks, you know, but they're such a pain, you know, and you're doing a kid show like that, and that starts happening, it'll make you a little sad, you know, you get a little depressed. You're like, you go home, how was the show? They said I was boring. I had to bring out my really hard magic to impress them. I had to do all my card shootings, and I had to give him money basically. You know, I had to hand out my $100 bills to make them like me. But yeah, man. So I don't know. It's fun performing for kids, but it's a different game, totally different magic game. Like I've had same groups of kids, and they're totally different reactions. It's like adults, but it's almost like way more like bipolar, you know? Like you have good audiences when you're with adults, and you have kind of bad audiences, but they're always kind of polite. And with kids, it's like you might do a kid show, and they'll go crazy, and they'll want to like be super involved, and then you have kids who'll be like, "This is boring," and they'll leave. You know, it's like, well, whatever. can't win them all, I guess, but you know, parents like it. I don't know.
No, parents like it because you're a babysitter.
Yeah, exactly. It's because I'm doing the any card any number for 5-year-olders. They don't get it. That's a bad idea, probably. By the way. Here, shuffle the deck. Kids can't shuffle.
No, they can't. They can't. But they can flourish, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this.
I think
we're releasing that. We're releasing that actually.
What is it called? The Kung Fu.
Kung Flurry.
Kung Flurry. Yeah.
It's pretty tough. I go over the basic handling of it. I go over the kick version, and then also the one-handed cartwheel version. It's only like a $6.99 download, so it's like
it's a bargain.
It really is, especially learning those moves. Like I don't think any other cardistry DVD would teach you those.
I can probably guarantee that no other one would.
Nope. No, not at all.
So Chris, as we're getting to the end here, what's next for you? What's happening? Right now you're doing the Creator Spotlight on the Magic Cafe, right?
Yep, I have that. Creator Spotlight in the cafe for the next 2 days till the 15th. So I'll be on there.
That's where people can just come and ask you questions.
Yeah, it's on the Magic Cafe. And I know they changed some rules with the cafe with like logging on and stuff, but if you can get on, it's right under like latest and greatest. It's like Creator Spotlight or Spotlight with me. And yeah, I'll be on there, posting away, answering questions. People want advice, I'll give the best advice I can. But when it comes to anyone's advice, you have to take it kind of, whatever way you want, because if it was that easy, there'd be one book, on how to do it, and that would be it. But different things work for different people, so the best I can do is give advice on what I worked for me and what I learned to do and not to do. So that's on the cafe right now, and that should be fun. If not, they can hit me up on my Facebook. If they can find my or my Twitter, it's all Christopher Wiehl, and or the magic of Christopher Wiehl. So they can hit me up there, and I'm always open to chat. I'm always like, I'm on summer break now, guys, so I'm not doing anything. So I'll be doing that, and then I've got a couple downloads coming out with Murphy's, which I'm pretty excited about. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I'm wicked excited about those ones. I'm not excited about. I'm not gonna talk about the other ones from the other guys, but I'm just kidding. No, no, but I'm coming out with 2 downloads with Murphy's, which I'm really excited about. One's kind of like a weird anniversary waltz twist, which isn't even that, right? You were there with that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a mix between anniversary waltz and P90X.
Basically, I mean, then I came up with a name for that, didn't I? Dance lesson?
You didn't come up with a name for that, did you?
I think I did back when we were talking about it. Maybe.
Nah.
I'm gonna take credit.
I don't know.
I'm gonna take credit for it. Yeah, it's a great trick. It's basically what he just said. It's a twist on the anniversary waltz plot with 2 different objects. So it adds elements to it. So it's not just 2 cards.
Yeah.
So it's
a fusion of 2 objects together.
And then your other download coming out, I'm really excited. The Seattle's Best it's really good.
Have you seen that? Did I show you that? Or?
I haven't seen it. Well, yeah, you showed me privately, but I haven't gotten to see the footage of it.
Yeah, that's fun. Like, I love that. That's such it's good. I don't know. It's a coffee trick. So there's not a whole lot of coffee tricks out there.
Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's been fun. I know I talk a lot, so.
No, it's good.
So, we talked about like 2 things, and that was it. But no, it's good. Thanks for inviting me on.
And we will see you guys next week. And Chris, thanks for hanging out with us. Go check out Chris on the Creator Spotlight on the Magic Cafe, and we'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Take it easy, Kyle, and everyone else who's watching. And I miss everyone.
All right. Bye.